So that's how far I got with my collage. Yesterday I really enjoyed it in the end. I felt a bit silly doing it to begin with. I had no idea what I was going to do or where I was going with it, but I've enjoyed it. I've got this top to think about and some bits around the edges. And these are all from magazines of the 50s and 60s. This is going to be a political video, so if you don't want to see that, you need to step away after I've shown you the eggs and the hot cross bun loaf. I forgot to give eggs to Cleo. I forgot to take them. And I was up in the night and put this in the bread maker. I've tested it because you're meant to. Even though it's outside my normal window, I don't care. It's quite breezy out here. I didn't realise it was. When we went to bed last night, it was 11.9 degrees centigrade at midnight. And when I was up in the night at about 4 o'clock, it was 8.5. And it's still February. Okay, I've got notes. First of all, I talked about, I called them ADF, and it's AFD, the Alternative for Deutschland, creeping up behind in Germany, and their elections are on Sunday. And I meant to look and forgot. I don't think they have we have two elections. I can't remember what they're called. Tour, a premier tour and a deuxième tour. I don't think they have that. With us, when the premier tour looks very frightening, there's a chance in the deuxième tour to change that, and that's what happened for us last year. But I don't know whether that happens in Germany. But the AFD are at 20% and the Christian Dems are at 27%. So that's a reasonable gap. And Mark said to me when we were talking about it last night, and I was having a bit of a doom and gloom time again, that he'd read somewhere or heard somewhere that the left are working together, and he thinks that they will potentially form a bit of a coalition to make sure to keep AFD out of the picture. So that's what's going on in Europe, in Germany, and in Europe. Macron met with EU leaders on Tuesday and Wednesday to get together to formulate and talk about and plan what they were going to do about Ukraine, what they were going to do about, I'm just going to say Ukraine because I don't really know whether they talked about what they were going to do at Russia or what they're going to do about Trump, but they got together. And I don't think Keir Starmer was in that group. I wish he was, but the problem is the UK came out of the European Union, and they really need to be in it now. You really need to be with your allies, and your allies are not America. America is just shitting on all of its allies. So Macron is doing his bit, and French people don't like Macron. They don't like it that he is not paying as much attention as they'd like to stuff at home, and is paying attention to what's going on in the world. And I think this is going to be disrespectful to some French people, but I think that they don't recognise how important that is. I don't think many of them, some of them, recognise that we need to know what's going on in the world. We need to be up and about and talking about what's going on in America. It's massive and it will impact on you. but I think a lot of French people, probably many rural, many peasants, and that isn't derogatory here if you call somebody a peasant. There's a lot of peasants and it's normal. It's like, our neighbour's a peasant, but it's not a derogatory term. It describes the lifestyle that he leads. But yeah, I think, there's a mentality. I don't think it's a MAGA mentality, but there's a lot of people that are not educated enough to understand the importance of this, and they're looking closer to home, the price of eggs, and all that stuff, a bit like MAGA. And so yeah, Macron, I like Macron. I'm really pleased, and I'm really pleased not to have a president to be embarrassed about. Really pleased about that. I talked about the other day, I think, about if you've got books on Kindle, you've got until, I haven't got written the date down, you've got until I think the 25th to download them. And I've had people on Facebook saying, well, I don't really need to, I don't really want to, I don't blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's fine. But I looked at a list of banned books incoming. Here comes the cat. What can I do for you? You won't let me pick you up, will you? I looked at the list of a list of banned books. There's lots of banned books, and some of those books are books that I've read and books that I've owned. There's particular books that we all know about: Grapes of Wrath, The Handmaid's Tale, 1984, Fahrenheit thing. Can't remember the number. Various books that have been banned in America, and I think it's important to download your books even if you're not in America, because Jeff Bezos is in the thrall of the orange sack of pus. So you don't know what he's going to do. You don't know what he's going to withdraw. And if you still want to read The Handmaid's Tale again, or you want to read Grapes of Wrath again, or Kite Runner was on there, a book about, was it in Iraq or Iran? Kite Runner is on a banned book, and there's lots of LBQ something T. I never get that right, and I'm not being disrespectful, but I never get all that right. But there'll be a lot of that. Those books about that are no longer available, and he quite possibly could withdraw them across the board. So it's important, if you want stuff like that, that you get it before they rewrite history, because that's what's happening. The thing I found most distressing yesterday evening, distressing, shocking, horrifying, and despairing, was the spectacle of a grown man, jumping around on stage, roaring, carrying a chainsaw. Dark glasses to cover up the dilated pupils or whatever else is going on with his eyes, hat, jacket, couldn't put any words together. There were clips of him on Blue Sky, and he could not put his words together, just like Trump. He couldn't, his thought processes were off the wall, he was off the wall. Everybody's talking about him being high as a kite, high on ketamine, and it's absolutely frightening. It's terrifying, because he is the one he's the megalomaniac, and he holds all the strings. Trump is just a puppet, a front man, a showman, signing another executive order. Oh, it's not, I could sit and sign executive orders. It's not hard work, is it? Pass me a Sharpie. It's not hard work. But it's absolutely terrifying. And I don't think Musk will stop until he breaks us all. And I mean that. He won't stop till he breaks us all, because has his finger in the pie in the UK. He has his finger in the pie in Germany, trying to interfere. He is off his head, and I worked on an acute ward in psychiatry, and we didn't have patients on there with chainsaws. We had a couple of very out of control patients on there. Not all the time, because we managed them, but when we didn't look and looked the other way, or we just admitted them and we were still working out how we were going to manage them. You know, I walked into a room one day and found that the guy in there, in his early 20s, had dismantled with his hands the plastic plumbing for his sink and his toilet. Did he have a toilet in there? I don't think he had a toilet in there. For his sink, with his hands. It was dinner time on the ward, and down in the dining area there's round tables and chairs for people to sit around, and people had gone down with their meal. Can't remember how that was served. It might have come up on a trolley. People had gone down with their meal, and then somebody, a patient, a bipolar patient in a manic phase, him running up the corridor. He's got a knife, he's got a knife. So obviously there was pandemonium, and it turns out it was a butter knife. But by the time we dealt with him and sedated him, because that's what we had to do, we went down to the dining room, and the same guy that had dismantled his plumbing had piled all the tables and all the chairs into the middle of the room, of course all the food and everything as well, into the middle of the room. So they're the sort of people that I met. You know, I had a water cooler thrown at me, I had a jug thrown at me, the water cooler went out the window, a window that was specifically designed not to really open very far, but the water cooler went out. That's what I dealt with on an acute psychiatry ward, where you had people that had skills to manage it and could help, and you had drugs that you could use to manage it, because sometimes that's all you could resort to, because when people are in this manic stage, they are so strong. They are so strong. I can remember restraining somebody and sedating somebody one time, and she was so strong that the sedation took 30 minutes to 45 minutes to work whilst we were restraining her. That's what, you know, they're so strong. So what I witnessed last night was something similar, but on the world stage at a conference, and I can't remember the name of it now. Steve Bannon was there, and he did a Nazi salute. But it was a something beginning with C conference, and the out of control person is, I'm going to say, the leader of the free world. I know that that isn't what you voted for, or what you didn't vote for, thank you very much. The South African guy, who hasn't got the credentials to be president, is holding the strings and is out of control on stage with luckily with a chainsaw that he wouldn't even begin to know how to start. Although some people on Blue Sky said it's a pity he didn't start it, because he could have dealt with himself, given himself some fatal injury. Now this is frightening, I know, and there's part of me that thinks people don't want to know this, people don't want to see this, and I think, but there's part of me feels that you need to know, you need to be prepared, you need to know that even living here in Europe, we're not immune from it, we're not safe from it, and we need to be prepared. How you do that, I don't know at the moment, but you do need to know what's coming. I need to know what's coming. A lot of people don't. I know Mark doesn't like to know what's coming, and I've got a friend on Facebook. I remember ages back when Trump was in his first presidency. She got quite upset with me for sharing stuff on Facebook. I don't know what she does with that now. But it's like, I'm not going to stop sharing because it's important. It's so important that people are witnessing this. This is history in the making, and history in the making at the moment is horrible, really horrible. So, Chainsaw Man's back, I can hear. So I don't think he crushed his cottage. And I'm going to make pasta bake today for our main meal. And maybe try and take some eggs out for Cleo later. I'm not sure. So I did that collage. I found a nice piece of cardboard, a much bigger piece of cardboard. And I'm going to try and do another collage. I'm looking over there. I'm going to show you where I'm looking. At that tree. I don't know whether it's going to do it now. But every so often, there's a great load of dust flying through it. I'm wondering whether Mark's been out and emptied the ash can over there, because we empty the ash can around trees. I'm wondering whether he's done that, or there's something on the road, but it's blowing up really dusty through that evergreen. It won't do it now, you're looking. But it's been a bit distracting whilst I've been talking to you. Okay. I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Yeah, that's a bit of an odd thing to say, isn't it? I hope that helps. But just know, my American friends, my American subscribers, that I'm standing with you, and that's all I can do. I can't do it. I can share this. That's my contribution. I share a lot of stuff on Blue Sky. In some ways, I contribute. That's all I can do. I'm a Patreon of Elizabeth Cornice McLaughlin. It's a funny name she's got. I patronise her because I think, you know, she's doing a really good job, and it's the only way I can support is to patronise, because I can't do anything more because I'm here, not there. But just know I stand by you. Okay, thanks for watching.